What's good? What's good, people? How y'all doing? Mhm. So, after I got off my initial live feed, right, I happened across some dirty Moors who were attempting to slander me, right? I don't mind at all. But they were attempting to slander me and call me incompetent because I didn't agree with the information that they were presenting. Now, mind you, when I was on my live feed, there was a dirty Moor who came on and was attempting to take over my broadcast, right? And tell me what I'm supposed to be thinking, right? And this is the individual who then, like I said, when I got off, I happened to run across him and he had my picture. It was him and two other individuals. They had my picture, right, on their little live feed, and they had loser on there, all right? And they were attempting to ridicule me, right? This is not Muslim like. They were upset because I kept telling them that Thomas Drew Ali was born in Norfolk, Virginia. Okay? And so I'm going to show you all the discrepancy, right? And by the way, if you actually go and look at the very latest video that I posted on Facebook, or excuse me, on TikTok, you will see that I screenshot, right? I screen shared or screenshot, however it goes, screen recorded. That's what I did. I screen recorded the information that I had obtained. My sources being Ancestry.com, dealing with the census. Another one was there was a library in Newark, New Jersey that had information. And the third one was that was from the Chicago Defender, right? So what they were trying to out me on, right, is that I'm gonna show you. And the boogie on down. So in the Moorish American, this is called the Quran Questions, right? For Moorish Americans, right? And it says here, number 11, where was Noble Gerali born? And the answer says, in the state of North Carolina, 1886, right? So this wouldn't be right, would it? No, right. But what they failed to present perhaps because they're not studious and they're only focusing on those things that they wish to present and not everything in totality. I'm going to show it to you. Mm. Okay, so we also have what's called the oral prophecies and statements, right? And so Noble Drew Ali is said to have said, I didn't tell anyone where I was born at or who my parents were because I didn't want people to make a shrine out of the place or make over my parents like was done with Joseph and Mary, right? So he tells us that he did not tell us where he was born for real, for real. But then in the literature, he tells us that he was born in North Carolina. Now, why did he do this? He did this because at that time, those mentally incompetent Americans of Moorish descent, right? They were very superstitious, right? And like he said, he didn't want them going over there and doing all of that to his people's shrining it up. And so he gave them something so that he gave them a blanket, right? A blanket expression so that they wouldn't go out there, right? And look for that the way that people were looking for Joseph and Mary, right? So I wish I printed it out. I didn't. But now if you go and you look at that post that I presented, right? There is going to be a ship manifest from the USS Northland returning from Havana, Cuba, right? So they docked in Key West, Florida, right? And you'll see on that post, right, on that ship manifest, I believe Drew Ali was the second individual name. So it was last name, first name, birth, January 8th, 1886, and place of birth, Norfolk, Virginia. I believe these two might have been swapped around, right? And then it says that they were coming from Chicago, Illinois. Okay, this is the ship manifest. If any of y'all have ever got onto a ship, you know that you have to log your information in prior to getting there, right? And they require to know all of this information, right? And the third individual's name was C. Kirkman Bay, okay? And this goes with okay, and so that this all goes with another of the oral statements where we learn, right? Let me see if I can put it up there and get y'all to see it, right? In the yellow, right? It says, the Holy Prophet Drew Ali as C. Kirkman Bay went to the Pan American Conference in 1928, right? And it talks about Drew Ali and C. Kirkman Bay, right? So I'm showing you, according to that statement, the actual ship manifest, right? Drew Ali said that he was born January 8th, 1886, Norfolk, Virginia. Now, what I also show in that video is Noble Drew Ali, his civil service application, where he's identified as Thomas Drew from Norfolk, Virginia. And what it also shows is that, here we go. What it also shows is that there was a Thomas Drew whose address was 181 Warren Street. Some of the Moors should be familiar with that, right? So we have evidence of a Thomas Drew at 181 who was born in Norfolk, Virginia. So they're telling me I'm incompetent because I revealed to them the truth that they do not wish to receive. They were actually slandering me. You see what I'm saying? But I felt the need to show the information. So again, if you're interested in it, right, you could actually go back and see on that last video that information. What is the truth? About what? Well, I'll tell you what the truth is about this. Thomas Drew was born in Norfolk, Virginia. As a matter of fact, his address was 411 West Princess Avenue. This is the birthplace of Noble Ali that he didn't want his Moors, who were so superstitious, going back to, right, and turning this place into a shrine. And so what he did was he told them he was from the state of North Carolina. But he was not from the state of North Carolina. He did that as a mercy. He did that to make sure that no one was running out here, right, and disturbing the sanctity of his actual birthplace. I have other newspaper articles that also say that there was a Dr. or Professor Thomas Drew who claimed himself to be an Egyptian adept. Now, if you know the newspaper where we see Jurali's face and it says 181 Warren Street on there, he says that he is an Egyptian adept. But they called him, as a matter of fact, Drew called himself Professor Drew. Now, in the newspaper article, they called him Dr. Thomas Drew, Egyptian adept. Now, mind you, he called himself Professor Drew, the Egyptian adept, and in the newspaper, because the police ran down on him, right? They didn't like the fact that he was doing what he was doing. The headline read, Dr. Thomas Drew, Egyptian adept. And what was the address? "181 Warren Street." Now, I am a researcher. This is what I do. This is my tick, right? As one who has autism, right? These are the things I focus on. I focus on details. This is what I do. I really focus on detail. You see what I'm saying? The little things. If you've ever watched the show Monk, M-O-N-K, right? He was a detective that just had a twitch, right? You just had a knack for things. I have that same, I don't wish to call it an issue. I just have that same attention to detail, right? So they were also trying to sell me on this. They say the noble Drew Ali went to Egypt, right? And then they told me that they were going to show evidence. And so I'm like, oh, please, by all means, right? Because if I'm wrong, my intentions is not to just be right because I feel like it, right? I can be corrected. I desire to be corrected if I'm wrong because my intentions is to be correct, right? So they're telling me all of this stuff. And then they give me this report, right? I've seen it before, right? And it talks about Noble Drew Ali's birthday, Moorish American Week, and it says that Drew Ali was born in the state of North Carolina. And I'm like, brother, well, we're in a new time now where people aren't superstitious, and I'm trying to explain to them the truth. Like, nah, he was born in Norfolk, Virginia, right? I said his name was Thomas, and they're telling me that he was Timothy from the state of North Kakalaki. And I'm like, nah, bro, that's what he told those Moors back then because they were superstitious. Pardon me. There we go. Because they were superstitious and he ain't want them running down on his plot on his old spot. These people, these dirty Moors, right? These soiled Muslims, right? So now they were slandering me, they're calling me names, right? And then I noticed one of the people on the panel, right? If you check my videos, you'll see that her name is the number 2, Enlightened, right? And she's a renegade Moor. And so are all those other people. They just brought it into the temple, right? They're trying to teach that Moorish Americans are better than everybody. That's not Islam. Okay. By me. They're trying to call me a Mason and whatever. Anywho, right? So this is the sister who I stitched. Damn, I lost everybody just dropped off. Anywho, I stitched one of her posts where she was just making all of these egregious statements and claims, right? And so that let me know that she doesn't follow Drew Ali, or that she herself is not studied well in what Noble Drew Ali presented, right? She was telling people, do you know that if you get an allodial title? And I'm like, okay, she'll show us yours. Because you can't be telling me about something that you ain't done yourself. Even if it's true, I can't accept the information until you can verify it, right? There are people making unqualified claims out here. And then trying to superimpose themselves over this true information. This is why Moorish Americans are looked at as ignorant. Because the people, it's plain. The brother who brought this information, he was teaching us how to be commercially active, right? These people have taken this information way out left. When you see me, I'm not one of them Moorish Americans that believe that I'm better than anybody or believe that anyone's lower than myself. I'm not one of those Moorish American Muslims that practice foreign doctrine. The doctrine of Islam accepts everybody. Yes, it does. And so when, I'm going to say when, it's not even if, but when you hear these misguided souls, they're going to say things like the pale skinned Europeans, whatever. they're going to try to convince the people that the nations of Europe who are of pale skin, that all of them are bad guys. That's foreign doctrine in Islam. For any of you who know true Islam, the doctrine of Islamism, Islam is for everyone. Doesn't matter where you're from. Right? Timothy Drew from North Carolina was an assumed name given in order to protect his heritage. He tells you that he didn't tell you where he was born, and he tells you why. He tells you why. Because he knew that those people at that time were mentally just out of their minds, and that they would go rushing to him because they understood that he came as a representative of Jesus. And at that time, those people, they were boogie-woogied out. They were searching for Jesus, right? And he didn't want them going over there and doing to his family and his space the same thing that the people back in the time of Yeshua or Jesus, the shit that they did to him. If I have to be the first one to tell you, you can be a Moorish American and be from Italy. You can be a Moorish American and be from Hindustan or India. You can be Moorish American and be from Pennsylvania. Because in Islam teaches that all of humanity are born pure, free, equal standing under the law. That's what Islam, that's the principles of Islam. Now, I'm aware that even in other more Islamic diasporas, this concept isn't really, comprehended, right? You still have division within Islam, but any division in Islam that deals with anything, that deals with, skin tone or lands of origin, right? Any division that comes from that's not Islam. That's not Islam. So the understanding in Islam is that Islam Oh, okay. No, it's not there either. Oh, there it is. Any Muslim will tell you that Islam was the first religion ever. They'll tell you that. Not everybody accepts that, because when they tell you that, they don't make it make sense. So Islam, right, is the Arabic expression determining the religious way of life. One's way of life, they call it the deen. Your way of life, that covers every aspect, right? That deals with economics. Islam talks about equity and creditorship, about being whole, So it might have been expressed in a different language, a different way, right? When Muhammad came, supposedly he came because those who were in the past have misinterpreted, right, the way of life. They were not acting accordingly, and so it was placed upon him. He received divine inspiration while he was meditating, right? And then he taught them yoga. But that's another story. So your way of life, that's your economic system. That deals with commerce. That deals with trusts, estates, right? You don't have to call it Islam. What does Islam mean? Let me show you. Let me show you. Absolutely. I'm going to show you the concept that is to be expressed when we say Islam, but I'm going to show it to you in just two. I'm going to just show it in two other cultures. I'm going to show it to you in the Hindu culture, and then I'm going to show it to you in the American Indian or the Native American culture, just so that you can see it, right? I'm going to show you Islam. First, what does Islam mean? Peace, harmony, unity, right? So, if you're studious like I am, you will know that Hinduism is not the name of their way of life. That is a European misnomer. Just like Judaism is not Judaism. Judaism is actually called Yahuism. But in Hinduism, the true expression of Hinduism it's called Sanatana Dharma. Okay? Sanatana Dharma. Right? This is the Indian culture. Sanatana Dharma. Okay? And then with the Native Americans, they call it the Great Law of Peace. To the best of my understanding, they call it the Great Law of Peace. Now, what does Sanatana Dharma mean? It means the eternal way of life, or the eternal law. And what is the purpose of Sanatana Dharma? To reach tranquility, balance, nirvana, right? Now, Sanatana Dharma I guess that would be Sanskrit or Urdu. I'm not quite sure what the language is. And then the Great Law of Peace, however they call it, right? Both of these are synonymous with the interpretation that is called Islamism. Ism means the doctrine. So it is the great law of peace. But it is all Islam because it can be seen as Islam because Islam that says salam, right? This is al-Islamiyya. Miya means the doctrine. Okay? Islam means equity, equality, balance, right? And in Islam, all are equal. Islam in English doesn't just mean peace. Just like the great law of peace doesn't. What is peace? What is peace, right? If you are warlike, then you are not peaceful. This is to my so-called American Indians and Native Americans, etc., who are very warlike. You can't really be the people of the land if you out here warring with the people. It just is what it is, right? As a matter of fact, I found out in this book that certain Indians, certain American Indian understanding is that all of humanity are one brotherhood. Al-Islamiyya, Islam is known as the sacred brotherhood, because everyone who is a Muslim is family. This book teaches you that too. Sanatana Dharma, what they call Hinduism, teaches you that too. The sacred brotherhood is also known as a fraternal order. It's a fraternal order. All right? Now I hear you. Ain't no Native Americans out there talk about no fraternal orders. You're lying. You don't know what you're talking about. But I have evidence of something different. See, I'm a student of this shit. Right? Now, how else can we say fraternal order? National organization, because national means all the people of one particular group, and the organization means that they've come together. It's all about the fraternal order, right? In national organizations, they're all run off of administrative trust and estate law. Every national organization teaches of administrative trust and estate law. That's the foundation for every business, no matter where you go. No matter where you go. All these businesses, what do they have, right? They trust in their agreement. Their agreement makes the law becomes God, right? Because it's enforceable, all right? And they learn to administrate in the private on behalf of all of their constituent members. Okay? So all religions, all of them, in their root, in their core, are just teaching administrative trust and estate law through the common law. If we don't accept it, it ain't common to us. If it's not common law, it's foreign law. We don't deal with foreign law. You know? This is what it's all about. Now, I'm going to put up the name of a few individuals. Who is that one individual? Majestic Minds, peaceful greetings, family. Damn, what did I just say I was going to do? Oh man, I lost my train of thought that quick. Law versus legal, God's versus man. Well, God and man are one. You see what I'm saying? God and man are one. So man's law has to be in accordance with God's law, or it's not right. There's nothing wrong with lawful versus legal, right? Unless the legal aspect does not adhere to the lawful aspect, at which it's no good. Okay. What did I say I was going to express? Can't recall what I was going to express. Does anyone recall what I just said prior to? Um, mm, mm, mm. Common law. All right, well, I've lost it, and so that means that the courts. Absolutely. The Bible is scripture. Oh, there we go. The Bible is scripture. It's common law. You know, it's so. Religious scripture gains its authority by the mutual consent of the people who assert it. Yeah, it's only two, and that's fine because this really isn't for TikTok. This is for my YouTube channel. To be honest, I mean, it's Sunday. There's people out there like, giggling. Like you. What's it say? You said you were going to call out some people by name. Did I say that in this one? I said I was going to call some people out by name. I don't recall saying that just now, but regardless. So any religious scripture is really, it's really the trust law of those who came together and agreed on it and then passed it down. No problem. So in the religion or in the way of life, that I was going to call some people out. All right, let me see. Who was I going to call out? It escapes me at the moment. And when things like that escape me, that lets me know that that's not what needs to be said at this moment. Plus, we're going through the Mercury retrograde, so please bear with me if you're going to be here. Because there are many people that I can call out. But what's the, you know what? Fuck it. I'll tell you this much. The Nation of Islam are not Muslims. You cannot be black by the lawful definition, not by the local, but by the lawful definition. You cannot be black and Muslim because black in law means civilly dead, and Muslim means white or civilly alive. You can't run around here talking about I'm not alive, now treat me like I'm alive. But in Islam, everyone's white. Did you know that? Wa alaikum assalam, Rasulinda Yabal. Assalamu alaikum. Peace and love, my sister. Black means no standing. White means withstanding. My skin is obvious. I would hope that y'all, being at least 20 years in age and up, would know the difference between black and white. My skin don't look like either one of these things on my head. So let me show you another thing. Mm-hmm. Black means debtor, stateless, and out of law or outlaw. It's a status. It's not a people, it's a status, right? It's not a people, it's a person, if you will. And so if black means the opposite of white, then white means white means creditor or statesman, one who is a part of the state, right? It means one who is in law, and it means that which is in full life. No, let me show you. Because that's one of the hangups that a lot of people have, right? I'm going to show you. So in Islam, we learn that we have two types of standings, you know. You could either be the debtor, which means one who owes, or you could be the creditor, which means one who receives, right? I have two selves or two persons, two personalities, legally, right? One is stateless. It's the debtor. In basic accounting, we learn, because this is all about records of account, right? Trust accounts, right? Debits equal credits. They equal each other and they cancel each other out. You can't be the debtor and the creditor at the same time, but you possess both abilities. So this is the stateless public personal identity. It's an unsecured security. It has no capacity because it's in the federal. It has no capacity to speak up as a state citizen. This is my creditor personality. I'm aligned with the state. And what did I do? Right? I pledged this as collateral to my state. And so I took this public estate that was created and I secured it into the private. This was established with this. So they're one. They're one. But only if I am the debtor and in the wrong, it's the birth certificate. It's the birth certificate. That's what it is. So the birth certificate is a person, all right, or a self, okay? And from this self that was stateless, I, the living, said, "Hey, I need a person, right? A personality, legally on paper, that establishes my life." Yes, the straw, absolutely. All right, this is the scarecrow. The social security is the 10, right? Tax identification number. The lion is supposed to be equity, courage, right? Leo the lion from the heart. It's supposed to be equity, and equity is how much you've invested. What did you put in? Because what you put in is what you get out, And Toto is Spanish for everything, right? Toto is the dog. Dog spelled backwards is God, man's best friend, right? And Dorothy represents these all as one. See, Dorothy was lost. She was ignorant. She was incompetent. But when she figured it out, she realized that she never left. She just woke the fuck up. Or she stood up. This is the servant, right? It's like it's bowing to you, right? It's in submission to you. This says that you're standing up. So when you owe and when you are owed, right? It's just showing you the balance sheet. This is all accounting. Powerful. I appreciate that. I take all of the boogie woogie stuff out of a religion. I don't do all of that hocus pocus. Right? Because I'm a student, right? So you have two personalities. Here, as a matter of fact, because I showed it to a brother, he asked me to make it plain. Right? And so I'm going to make it plain. Where did it go? Wait 1 second. Literally just dropped that down here. Where did it go? Up there it is. Okay. So I'm going to show you because it's a trinity. If you know trust law, it's all about soft sit. I was waiting for you to come. You can go bye-bye. We don't do soft sit energy here. People have no tolerance. Most of y'all are old enough to remember Michael Keaton as Batman. So I'm going to use that. All right. So we have Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton would be the cross. This is your ledger, okay? And then Michael Keaton plays Bruce Wayne and Batman. Bruce Wayne by himself, if they ever found out he was Batman, right? He'd be in a whole heap of shit. This is Bruce Wayne. This is the assumed name, Batman. Batman protects Bruce Wayne. Now, here's the deeper understanding. Bruce Wayne is not Michael Keaton. Batman is not Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton acts as Bruce Wayne and as Batman. He has two personalities or two selves. It's all about acting, right? Act one, this act, that statute, right? They're all acts, right? Acting judge, acting mayor, right? It's a play. So you are that which is in the center. Sometimes you're Bruce Wayne, sometimes you're Batman, but at all times, you're Michael Keaton. Yeah, it really is. It really is. And then you must mark down that you're not a U.S. citizen because you're relating to the living or the protector. Your creditorship, this says that I'm a redeemer, right? I'm able to redeem the credit, the debit, and credits. It's a revenue or revenue. So when you, well, it's funny, beloved. But anyhow, so when you say that you're not a U.S. citizen on the passport form, there's only one other option. From my studies, I found out that there was a time when on the U.S. passport form, the DS-11 form, that you had the option to pick whether you were a state citizen or a U.S. citizen. Both of them are U.S. citizens. But a U.S. citizen who's not a part of the state is stateless. That's the key. It's not about being non-citizen, though. Well, let me see. Get the passport as a non-citizen so it clears. Well, yeah. So I don't use the terminology non-citizen because I am a citizen. As a matter of fact, I have two citizens. I will act in either capacity, but you'll never find me just acting in this capacity. This capacity has no capacity to speak, to think, or to do. It can only act as it is told. This has the authority to speak on this behalf. I am a U.S. citizen, but I'm a U.S. citizen who's aligned with the state. I'm foreign to just the federal government. No, I have sovereignty with my state. I am one of the members of my state who is in the union that makes up America. This was issued to you by the state. This is saying, again, we're making claims. So if you understand the claim and you understand that this is a security instrument, right? And the social security number is the financial information, right? And it has it's under the Federal Reserve banks, right? You're going to your U.S. Department of State, which is aligned with the U.S. Treasury and the private, and you're saying, hey, this is collateral. This was issued to me. Now, if I'm issued a debit, there must be a credit. There must be, because basic accounting teaches us that debits equal credits. If the debits don't equal the credits, it's not perfected. It's not a clear account. So what you're doing is you're saying, hey, I'm pledging this as collateral in order to be recognized as the holder in due course. This everything that's held in this name, in this estate, is administrated under this identity. Now, mind you, this has a nine-digit EIN, right? So does this. When you use this at any job, you pay federal taxes because this is a federal citizen. It's not a part of any state. No, I didn't have to. I didn't have to change it because I've already expressed it. See, I don't play with. I've already expressed it. See, I don't play with the paperwork too tough. One of the issues that I have with the SF 181, this is literature that I present for the people. Excuse me. And just to show you all, it's got the the DS11 form in there, right? This is all for your review so that you can look at this stuff before you go out there and start filling shit out, not knowing any better. All right. And then this is the SF that you're talking about right here. All right. So the reason I use this to teach from, but I don't tell anybody go refill it out because I can see the bullshit in it, right? So let me first say this before I get to this, right? Si estoy hablando el español, right? If I'm speaking in Spanish, would you know that I have no Spanish heritage just by looking at me? Huh? Or if I spoke in Arabic, would you know that I was not born as an Arab? Right, you wouldn't know. Not just by looking at me, right? So you can't tell my status or my national standing by the way I look. Now here it tells you ethnicity. This is the Privacy Act statement, right? For those of you who have this, you know what I'm saying? So that you can read it and see what I'm talking about. It says ethnicity and race information is requested under the authority of 42 USC section 2000 E16 and in compliance with the Office of Management and Budget's 1997 revisions to the standards for the classification of federal data on race and ethnicity. So this is setting your commercial status, if you understand. Okay. It says, providing this information is voluntary. So I don't volunteer to them, right? And has no impact on your employment status, which is bullshit. But in the instance of missing information, your employing agency will attempt to identify your race and ethnicity by visual observation. So they're going to look at this. It jumped, so I don't know when it jumped. So I'm going to read that last part, right? It says, but in the instance of missing information, your employing agency will attempt to identify your race and ethnicity by visual observation. Now I just asked you all, without looking at me or without me ever speaking, I know that I can pass as a so-called Latino. I know this. For 7 years when I was young up in prison, I had Latinos, the Puerto Ricanos, the Cubanos, the Panaman. I had all these people telling me on they dead grandma, I'm one of them. And I'm like, no, papi, soy negro, right? I didn't even know Spanish at the time. But they're telling me I'm one of them. Like, no, you're not with them, bro. But the point is, you can't identify me by what I look like. Now, I'm brown. Everyone's brown. Everyone is brown. For those of you who deal with art and y'all understand shades, you will know that everyone is a shade from the darkest to the lightest of brown or maroon, more moreno. All of these more means brown. All right. There is no brown classification on here. So now what are they going to try to identify me as? Black. Black's on there. But I know that black, according to this, black is a person having origins in any of the black racial groups of Africa. There's only one, there are no racial groups of Africa. Now, mind you, I am of African descent. So then, why do I identify as white? Because white here says a person having origins in any of the original peoples of Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. So the African diaspora has a white status. And if you're familiar with true history, you'll know. If you're familiar with true history, you'll know that Europe, the Middle East, which is Asia, and North Africa prior to 1492 was under, we'll say, Muslim or Moorish trust and estates law administration. And I just told y'all that Muslim means creditor. Well, I might not have said it on here. I said it on another post. Muslim means creditor. It doesn't even, it means perfected in the law is what Muslim, the word Muslim means. It means one who's balanced. Your creditor and your debtor, you're balanced, you're perfected, you're whole. You see what I'm saying? So I know that I'm not white or black. I know that I'm brown. But I also know that Bruce Wayne is the black identity. And that Batman, even though Batman wears black, how about that? Right? He's the protector. He's the protector. Right? The white is the protector. It's the redeemer. You know? So, again, you are neither Batman and Bruce Wayne. Batman and Bruce Wayne are not real. They're characters. Nationality tells you, nationality arises from it is that quality or character which arises from the fact of I have two persons, belonging to a nation or a state. National citizenship is state citizenship. So one covers the other. You see what I'm saying? I actually work with this. And when I'm gonna find it. Well, I can't put it on TikTok because the last time I tried, they had me all hemmed up. So when I received my income tax, my W-2, W-4, whenever I received that piece of paper, right, it showed me that federal taxes were not taken out. And on top of that, I'm not even able to file for income tax. I can't get the return because I've been getting the majority of my money up front. Now, yes, I do pay into the state taxes, right? And I know that those who are dealing with the state taxes are misappropriating the money and they are embezzling, but that does not mean that I'm not supposed to pay state taxes. What that means is we as a people are supposed to organize and get them motherfuckers out of office. But in order for us to do that, we need to know the basics of accounting. We need to know it so that we can go in there like a foreman on a job. The foreman doesn't really put his hands on much. He's telling everyone else what to do. He knows, or she knows enough about what's going on to know if someone's screwing up or not. We need to be the foremen. We need to be the foremen. We need to know so that we can hold everybody to the same standard. They can't get out on you if you know. And if you ever read the U.S. Constitution, it tells you that when your government is not operating right, that you have the right to abolish it, change it, or do your own thug thizzle. As long as it's peaceful revolution. It's like a peaceful revolution, right? You're saying we're not dealing with that because it's not for us. Now in Islam, that same understanding is expressed by Muslims. Muslims are supposed to pray, right, behind their leader, right? In Islam, if your leader is not right and exact and you know it, you're not supposed to pray behind them. You're not right, you don't put them out front. And the people have the right to go somewhere else and elect someone else, right, to start their meeting or to offer their prayer. And so that's the same thing as the peaceful revolution where, hey, if you're not operating right in the best interest of the people, if you're not operating right in the best interest of the people, you got to go, fam. Now, what a lot of our issues are or is that we know that these people are doing injustice, but we have yet to stand up and put ourselves in those positions. I know it keeps skipping and every time it skips, I try to repeat myself from wherever I see it skip at. This is the Mercury retrograde. It's going to happen. So, in the school of thought that I was brought up in, I was taught that I have two selves, that I must know them, and that they are one. They're not individual. They are indivisible. But I also know that I can't show you my front and my back at the same time. But just because you see my front doesn't mean my back's not there. You see what I'm saying? But my front and my back make up all of me. My left and my right make up all of me. Now, I'm going to show you all a little bit more for those of you who may be interested or may have studied these same principles under Mason. No, I'm not a Mason. But I study so that I know what everybody else is talking about. You dig? So now, okay, can y'all see that? I'm going to show y'all something, right? So, some of us may have heard the expression, I'm a traveler, and I'm traveling to the east. I'm a traveler, right? So, you're traveling from the debtor side to the creditor side. For my Christians, right, who believe that they were born in sin, right? So you're born in sin, right? But you were learning to find yourself to be seated at the right side of God, that you will be redeemed. So that you'll be redeemed. This is all it's talking about. That's what it's really all talking about. It's saying come together and know yourself. Know yourself. This is my lower self because it's bent over in service. This is my higher self. It stands erect. Right? Let me show you. Now, for those who deal with the Egyptian priesthood, you know that this is the sign of the high priest. Right? This is the sign of the judge or the referee or the one who calls the shots. This is the letter Y, because you are both the question and the answer. XY. XY. Not XX. It doesn't come from the fit. In trust law, you receive your estate from your father. Right? The mother is not underneath. I'm trying to find better words so that it doesn't seem like I'm degrading, because it's not a degradation thing. Right? But you receive or you inherit everything that your father gives you. Well, God is supposed to be your father. Your mother receives it and she multiplies it. And you're supposed to be the benefactor. This is the mother. This is the father. They work together. God is masculine and feminine. Not male and female, but negative and positive. And mind you, when the negative and the positive, can't see it. Hold on. Can I see that on there? All right, yeah. When the negative and the positive, mind you, when the debits and the credits equal out, They become one. Now, if you tilt that on its axis, X marks the spot. This is where you find your treasure in yourself. Knowing yourself. Knowing that the authority comes from yourself. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you're beneath me. Even if I tell you you're beneath me, if you don't accept it, then it's not true to you. And what matters to you should only matter to you. Finding yourself, finding your inherent as well as constitutionally secured authority. Because rights means authority. When you talk about your rights is your authority. That's your jurisdiction. Jurisdiction means the right words. You're the author. You're the scribe. You're the FI. You're the one who writes the affidavit. You're the one who expresses. That's the spirit coming out of you. That's your truth. Nobody else can tell you who you are. I can't tell you who you are. There are people out here trying to tell me that Moorish American is fake. It's a soft sit. Like, they're telling me all of this shit. And I know these people don't know shit. I know they don't. And I don't let them tell me who I am. I'm going to be me. I have a right to a nationality, and I have a right to change mine. I also have a right to change my nationality. And I know that this nationality, Moorish American, was introduced in 1928 for sure by Drew Ali when he went to the Pan American Conference, which is the origin of United Nations today. And he declared us Moors. He declared us Moors. And he didn't say that we were American Indians either. Drew Ali did not say that we were American Indians, because at that conference, there was already an Indian chief representing the American Indians. Absolutely. I am what I am. So I know, and I know that because Noble Drew Ali lawfully chartered and incorporated his organization as a national organization, as a fraternal order, it's recognized the world round. So I'm Moorish American, whether anyone likes it or not. Just because there are those who do not wish for the truth to be known that are sitting in these offices, just because that may be the case right now, that doesn't mean that their truth is my truth, right? A lie is a lie, no matter if there's 1 million people telling you this lie. It'll never become a truth. And the truth is the truth, no matter if everyone is telling you otherwise. I just simply deal with that which is, was, and evermore to be. The truth does not change, nor does it pass away. I'm an American citizen just like you're an American citizen. And the only difference may actually be that I'm a Muslim and you have a different trust in the state administration or religion. But other than that, I know that we're equal. To me, we're all Muslims. To me, all of humanity is creditor. Because we're all in this form, we all share the same substance. The creator's substance, the creditor's substance. So you don't have to say, if I say that you're Muslim, I'm not trying to say that you're going to, do all of this. All I'm really trying to say in a particular language is that I identify you the way I identify myself as free and equal. I mean, I don't really deal with Napoleon. Napoleon did some real vicious shit too. A nigga tried to take all of Louisiana. You see what I'm saying? So again, like I said, just because someone who may have assumed authority says a thing doesn't mean that that is what it is. But anyone who agrees with it, they'll follow behind it, but it still doesn't make it true. No problem. No problem. I'm going to show you what I'm reading, right? That helped me and is continuing to help me in understanding, there it goes, this information, right? So I started studying accounting, right? I went on TikTok, or I went on YouTube, right? Because I'm like, I got to figure this stuff out. Like, I know that it matters to some degree. Jesus said, I'm about my Father's business. So we talking about business management, and accounting is very important to business management, right? And so then I got myself this, right? This is a college accounting textbook, right? And I'm like, damn, man, like, it's heavy on me, right? So I found something that made it so easy for me because I already have the concepts, but now the concepts are made easier to me. So now I can look at corporations, sole proprietorships. I can look at the income statement, the financial statement, the balance sheet. I can look at all of that just from the level of a lemonade stand. This helped me understand. It's our last day of school. We getting ready for the summer. Ooh, can you feel it? Ooh, we about to be out of school. Bell ring, we all slide. Pew! We go home. Mom and dad sitting there, they knew that today was a special day. So they wanted to make you feel special. You know what I'm saying? You come in, you bring all your friends. Mom's got brownies. Mom's got cupcakes. Mom's got lemonade. Right? Everybody's part. We're enjoying ourselves, right? It's the last day of school. We making plans and shit. You're drinking this lemonade. You know this lemonade's the truth because you've been drinking it. That's your mama's shit, right? But then you overhear one of your homies say, oh man, this is some of the best. I pay for this. And the light goes off. Bing. Oh, this is that good, right? So after all, everybody done went home, right? You're sitting in your room and you're just cycling this information in your head like, your old boy said that he'd pay for this. I bet everybody would pay for this. Let me go get a lemonade stand. Now, you don't know how much it costs to start a lemonade stand, but you don't care. You ran to your piggy bank, right? Or you went to your brown paper bag or your shoebox, wherever you put your money at, right? And you gather all your money, right? Well, we ain't gonna put it in the shoebox yet. We gonna keep it at the young level. So you grab your piggy bank, bang, blow it open. You got all this change. You go to your mom and your dad, they count it up for you, right? Or no, you count it up. You say, I got $5 in change, mom, dad, right? And they're like, all right, and they give you 5 $1 bills, right? Boom. So now your cash equals $5 on this side, right? But who does it belong to? Right? It belongs to you, right? So we're going to also put it down on this side. As an initial investment, right? Now this is the debit side and this is the credit side. Debits and credits, they equal out, right? But then you do some more thinking and you realize this is your equity, right? And then you realize it's going to cost more than $5 to get this shit slapping, right? So what do? You want the mom and dad and you're like, yo, can I hold like $10? All right, because I only got $5. Right? And I don't think that $5 is going to do it. Mom and dad, they're like, oh, you know what? We like this idea. We like that. You're taking initiative. We're going to give you this $10. You grab the 10 and you get to running and they're like, wait. We didn't give you that. We didn't give you that $10. We're going to show you in real life business. We want that $10 back. Right? So what did they just give you? A loan. So now, how much cash do you have? You got $15. Okay, all right, you got $15 now, but only 5 of that belong to you. So now, we all know or should know that this says notes payable. You should know that a note is a loan. It's a promise to pay. It's a promise to pay. So now you owe mom and dad, right? And then your initial investment or your equity is $5. So guess what? The total was still $15 now. Right? So we're learning, right? Now, mind you, you went and grabbed your uncle's old cigar box. This is where you're putting all your money in. You see what I'm saying? Now, you have $15, right? 10 of it belongs to mom and dad. 5 of it belongs to you. So this is your net worth. This is how much you have invested. Right? Now, when you turn profit, right? When you pay for the lemons, and you pay, we'll say the lemons are like $12, right? And we'll say that 5 pounds of sugar, right, is like $1. right? So you just paid out, you shelled out $13, right? Now, let's say that you make $25 on the flip after all of this, right? So now you got $25. You owe mom and dad, right? You owe mom and dad $10. So you go to mom and dad like, here's your 10. What you got? You got 15. Now you're on your own. You can do it all by yourself. Now everything else after that $15, you started with 5. Now you got 15. You can manage on your own now. So now all of this becomes yours, right? And that's just me paraphrasing it, right? But that's how this book teaches this. It says that this is what is owed. This is what's in hand. This is the tangible. And this is what is owed out. So this goes out for expenses, right? Because we didn't even put in the expenses, right? But I just told you the expenses, $10, $12 for this, $1 for that, blah, 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 right? All of that goes over here, your expenses, right? I lost where I was at. In a nutshell, okay, that's what I was saying. These go outside. This is the cost to run your business. Where did I put it at? Here it is. This is that on this side. This is a security financial instrument that is charged. The debit charged. This is the discharge or the offset. This side, after everything is done, the revenue, what you keep, you get to redeem that. That's all yours. My lemonade stand. Y'all hear me? It's that basic, right? So this would be like a sole proprietorship, if you will. And this is a corporation because you had to go out and bring somebody else in to assist you to get here. Right? Oh. So now you're moving. Now, this consists of me, myself, and I. This is this and this acting as one. This is my corporation. This is the sole prop. This is indistinguishable from myself. This is an asset. This is a debit. This is distinguishable in as much as the liability. You can tell me apart from my business partners. You can tell me, my debtor self, myself, my creditor self, and I. You don't see that? Now what is I? I is what keeps it all going. You see that's back to the sheet? This is a balance sheet. The sheet's balanced. It's level. For all you Masons, it's level. We're on the level. And we park on the square. Anywho. This is the information in all of your religious scripture that when you delve deeper, when you find the kingdom within, you solve the mystery. You figure it all out. You figure out that it's all on you. You figure out that there's more versions of you than you thought. and you find out which self, right? Which version of yourself manipulates or animates both sides. One side is inanimate. Just imagine it's a box and you're putting your stuff in it. It can't do anything but hold your stuff in it. And then your other self, right, your body, it's like, oh, this is all for me. I can speak for this, right? But then the inner self, the observing self, is really the one controlling it all. This is your Trinity and trust law. Father, Son, and Mother, grantor, beneficiary, trustee, right? That's the triangle, right? All of that good stuff right there. That's what we talk about. Drew Ali brought this. Jesus brought this. Muhammad brought this. David brought this. Solomon brought this. Brahma, Shiva, Krishna, Vishnu, they all brought this. Anu, Enki, and Enlil, they brought this. It's all the same. Abraham, Sarah, come on. And Hagar, right? So Abraham has Sarah and Hagar. Sarah couldn't even produce. So Hagar received the trust and estates that he gave to her. She brought it to term and had Ishmael. And then the same was done with Sarah. So the estates stem from the higher self, the highest authority. You see what I'm saying? And then each mother represents the trustee, the one who there we go. Inside, we'll say this is the grantor. This is Abraham. You're looking at Abraham. This is Hagar or Sarah. This is Ishmael or Isaac. Excuse me, did I say that right? Absolutely. And then, mind you, the children become the father, or the heirs apparent ascend. They ascend the throne. They become as one with their father. You know? And when we say father and mother and all of that, we're not trying to. The implication is not to show that mom and dad are higher or lower, because they're equal. But it is to show the contrast. That's all it is. The polarity. It's called polarity in the 7 Hermetic principles. Up has down, left has right. Right? They're just contrasts to show the difference or the degree of difference. But in reality, they're all one. Appreciate y'all for coming up, listening in. I'm going to go ahead and check out now. Link in bio. Facebook or TikTok, YouTube in bio too. If you go to my YouTube page, you'll see that I speak like this. I read like this. Everything that this right here is also going to make it to the YouTube. Y'all take care. Peace and love from the heart in equity. Assalamu alaikum. Mashalom kha. Jiwe pende. Shem hotepu. Namaskaram. Ashanti. And all of the peace on earth. Goodwill to all. Amen. Amen. I'll take care.